Okay, so once again, I'm not going to be showing my face. I took a nasty fall the other day and I look like I just got beaten up.
Pat bar 596.
So yeah, you're not going to be seeing me today. I've said before that a Library of Congress control number can make your self-published novel look more professional. And while it's not necessary for self-publishing, the addition of this simple number to your copyright page can really set your indie novel apart from those that don't have one. So it's free to apply for one and the process is super simple. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I guess it would be important to say what exactly a Library of Congress control number is. Basically, it's a number that helps the Library of Congress catalog your book. The LCCN is what you're going to be putting onto your title page or your copyright page. So let me show you how to apply for one. So here we are on the Library of Congress website, and we're going to be going to their pre-pub book link, which is where you're going to be putting in your requests. So there are ones for publishers, and there is a portal for authors and self-publishers. So that's what you're probably going to be using. So let's go to the author portal. Okay, and here we are. So the first thing you're going to have to do is create an account, which is very, very simple. So you just go to create account. You're just going to put your first name, your last name, an email address, and a password. That's it. Once you hit create an account, you'll be able to log in immediately. Okay, so I already have an account. We're going to log in. Okay, and here we are. So this is the pre-pub book link author portal. So what we're going to do is go down here and we're going to request LCCN. So now you're on the actual application. There's a few sections here. You've got general information, contributor information, title page, series and volume info, additional info and summary, and then you get to review everything at the end and submit it. So we're going to start with general information. So these are a couple of simple questions. Will the forthcoming book be published in electronic format only? If your book is only going to be an ebook, then you can't apply for an LCCN. But if your book is an ebook but also in print, then you can. So we're going to be saying no, it's not just an ebook. Then will the book appear at periodic intervals? Probably not, unless you're writing a serial. I think this is just going to be a novel that you publish once. So in all likelihood, you're going to be putting no here. And then is it intended for children or young adults? I know a lot of the people that follow me write young adult fiction, so you may very well be saying yes here, but in my case, it's a no. Okay, I'm going to skip this question for a second, but then you have the primary language of the text, so English. But here are two questions that may be a little tough to answer depending on how far into your work in progress you are. So you've got approximate number of pages as well as projected publication date. So if you're not very far along, like let's say you haven't even finished writing your first draft yet, it's going to be really hard for you to answer these two questions. So I would suggest that you do this when you're pretty close to being done. Maybe you're in the final stages of editing or something. Your book's not really going to change its length that much and you will have a better idea of when you're going to publish it. That's when I would probably start putting in this application. So we'll say the approximate number of pages for mine. I write really long-winded. Let's say it's like 500. Probably won't actually be that long. And then projected publication date. It says you should just put the most realistic month and year. So I guess it doesn't have to be entirely accurate, but it should be close. So we're going to say, God, I haven't been working on this nearly as much as I should. So let's say August of next year. Okay, now next section. This is where you put your contributor information. So it's probably going to be you as the author. That's obviously the most important name. So here we're going to put myself. We've got Joseph Durso. And then you can choose from several different contributor types. So you've got author, editor, illustrator, translator, compiler, and other. So you're going to be the author. Here you go. Then you just add that contributor. So let's move on to the next section. Now you've got the title page information. So here you'll put the book title. We're dealing with the sequel to my sci-fi novel. So we'll say The Aetherverse 2, subtitle, Pilgrims in an Unholy Land. And then the edition, it's probably going to be the first edition for you guys. And then the publisher name. So I would put Aether Press for the publisher name. If you don't have a company like that, in all likelihood you don't, and that's totally fine. You would just put your own name since you're self-publishing. And then you would put the city of publication. In my case, I always have to put Miami, but you would put pretty much wherever you're based out of. So whatever city you're in. Now you have title page contributors here. So any names that you listed as a contributor in the previous section are going to show up here. And if those names appear differently on the title page, like let's say my legal name is Joseph, but I decided to put my name as Joey on the title page, here you would put how those names appear on the title page. It has to match that exactly. So this may not apply to you. You may not use a nickname on your title page. You may just use your legal name on everything. So you may not need to change this. But if you do have a different name appearing on the title page, this is where you would indicate it. Let's go to the next section. Okay, and then this is series and volume info. So will the book belong to a series? It very well may. Mine does. So we're going to say yes here. Now you put the info about the series itself. So series title is The Aetherverse. Series volume is 2. And then if you have an ISSN for your series, I don't, then you would put that here. So then you would just add the series, and then let's go down. Now, volume information. Will the book consist of more than one physical volume? No, it's not an encyclopedia. And now you put all of your ISBNs. So these are the ones that are associated with the print format of your book. So you would put one ISBN for the paperback. You can add that. If you have hardcover, you would add that as well. And then if you have an ebook, you would put that separately. So will the book also be published in electronic format? Yes. And then now you would put the ISBN for the ebook and then the format here. So let's go to the next section. Now, this is basically the end of it. So you're going to put a summary of your book, and then you have additional info. So this is stuff that you think would help the Library of Congress in cataloging your book. I can't really think of anything that you would include here, but if you do come up with something, then just add that. And then here we go to the next section, and here's the end. You just get to review everything that you put, make sure everything's right. If you see any errors, just go back and fix it. And then once you've checked everything and it all looks good, you just hit submit. And that's it. So after you've submitted a request, you can actually go back to the author portal and you can go ahead and check the status of that request at any time. I don't have any pending requests right now, but if I did, they would show up here and you'd be able to see if they're still processing or if it's been finalized, basically what's going on with your request. Once your request has been processed and you do have a control number assigned to your book, you'll get an email with that control number. Once you receive that number, you can go ahead, add it to your title page or your copyright page. And there you go, you got it. You got your Library of Congress control number. So once your novel is finally published, you are obligated to mail a copy to the Library of Congress in Washington. So you can actually be suspended from the program if you don't. So while it's technically free to apply for an LCCN, you will have to spend some money on mailing a copy of your book to the Library of Congress, but it's only one copy, so I can't imagine it's going to cost that much to send it. So yeah, that's the whole process. It's really easy. There are a couple of things I want to mention though. First thing is that you have to be a US-based author to get a Library of Congress control number. You can't be a foreign author living outside of the United States. So this is only for books that are published in the US. And then here's my biggest recommendation. I mentioned this earlier, but I really want to stress it. It doesn't really make any sense to apply for this too early on in the process of writing your novel. You're going to want to do this when you're closer to being finished. You're going to be able to give much more accurate predictions of page count and publication date if you're not just starting writing. That being said though, you don't want to do it too close to the publication date either. It usually takes 1 to 2 weeks for the Library of Congress to process a request for an LCCN, but there's always the chance that could get delayed. So you don't want it to be that you decided you were going to get your LCCN, but you're publishing it in like a month, and then it turns out that they're super backlogged and it takes them a lot longer than 1 to 2 weeks to give you a number. That would particularly suck if you were doing pre-orders and you had a set publication date with KDP or whatever company you're using to self-publish. So give yourself some time before you're going to publish, but don't do it too early either. But yeah, my point is, like I've said in earlier videos and blog posts, if you're a self-publishing author, then getting a Library of Congress control number can really add to your novel's legitimacy. When a reader sees, oh, it is cataloged by the Library of Congress, what looks more legit than that? So let me know if you plan on getting a Library of Congress control number for your upcoming novel, or if you've gotten one from novels you already have written. Anyway, if you found this video interesting or helpful, please like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and as always, thank you for watching. God bless.